Okay, hello everybody. We're from Simon Fraser. I'm Salon Associate.
Jeffrey.
Sam.
Hello.
And so, given our proposal, we have to look at the transportation and logistic challenges associated with large-scale events at the Coliseum, the TD Coliseum. So the TD Coliseum is located in Hamilton, obviously where we are, and it's located southwest of Toronto, and it's a fast, rapidly growing city. And so their new Coliseum that was just recently reopened from renovation holds 18,000 seats and holds and holds many concert, sports, and community events that lead for lots of logistical problems with people coming from out of town, from people on the sidewalks, and transit strains, of course, from people coming through the city and out of the city. So this is our proposal. The Hamilton event flow, a multi-layered geospatial model for park and ride optimization and event mobility management. So the main problem that we saw was many people from out of town coming to Hamilton for this event, and with minimal parking lots for those people to park at. So our solution was park and rides. So since car usage is unavoidable, we can find a way to manage car rides so that it can reduce the negative impact on the community around it, and make it easy access for people out of town to come to the event and not get trapped in long lines trying to get to town and out of town. And yeah, that's reducing city congestion. We looked at other solutions, but active transit can be hard here when it's cold and it's hard to navigate weather. And also the ownership of the rail service that we found out, it's hard to rely on transit, especially in the evening, so we didn't want to rely on that. And large infrastructure projects can be really costly and take a long time. So we want to find an easy solution which a parking lot and a ride service can accomplish.
Right, so we use 3 different layers to decide on our sites. We have kernel density from TD Coliseum coming from downtown. It goes a bit past the 7-kilometer buffer. And we also have site suitability based on lot area from the parking bylaws map from hamilton.ca. Not too big and not too small. Bigger yellow is more perfect. And then kernel density on highways, of course, with higher density around highway exits, because we recognize that people come from outside of Hamilton to attend these events. So here's it in a nice flow chart. We decided on that 7-kilometer buffer by using average bus speed data from the city of Hamilton, 50 minutes, because we felt that was like a good time for people to travel for these parking rides. We then filtered to plots with industrial in the name from the zoning bylaws document, and excluded hazard sites, zoned for hazard sites and can't be used for anything. Chose a moderate sized plot so it's easier to acquire. And we excluded the downtown area because it's kind of silly to put this in the downtown, and it's quite expensive to do so. So we found 3 sites. Site A is currently Coots Drive and Dundas Street, about 30 minutes on conventional transit today. It'd be a bit less if we had an express shuttle. Site B is Victorian Ferry. It's kind of situated next to an abandoned rail line, which could be a staging point for GO trains late in the evening. Currently a grassy field too. And Ottawa and Beach Street, again another grassy field, and about 20 minutes for the transfer. So it'd be a bit much less with that express service.
And these are all at 11:30 p.m. here in the evening.
Yes.
So this is our suitability map. So just a brief overview, suitability maps are just, we combined those 3 maps that we use, those 3 data sets, and we put them together, and we've assigned different weights right there for site A, site B, and site C. So it goes from 5% to 98% there. There's nothing at 100, nothing at 0, obviously. So we had different weights. We thought the most important thing was that we want it to be in that 7-kilometer buffer, because we don't want people to come and have to try and transit too long, because then they're just going to come to the downtown core at that point, right? So we had that 7-kilometer buffer at 50%, and then the highways and the size we both set at 25%, but in a more comprehensive model that could obviously be adjusted. So these are our areas, as you can see in the light colors, and the dark areas are the ones where unsuitable. These are way too big right here in the corners, and some of them are a little bit too small. So what I did is I used Python and MATLAB, a little bit of statistics to calculate kind of this normal distribution here and inputting numbers kind of based on the time it takes for people to arrive into Hamilton, because the gates open at 90 minutes before the show, but the thing is people are not arriving here from Toronto, from Mississauga, from other places 90 minutes before the show. They're coming approximately, based on some studies we've seen, 1.5 to 3 hours beforehand. So we made this, and the mean is 90 minutes. We set a 20-minute standard deviation. So it goes from 0 all the way to 175 here. So obviously at the very, very tail ends, people come like super early. Maybe they want to make it a day trip, or they come super late, like maybe a couple minutes before the show. But most people will just kind of be here in the middle. So we had a little bit of a case study. So in the case study, we estimated that an event maybe approximately 15,300 people. So that's in between what we spoke about with someone from the venue. Between 13 would be kind of a mid-size event, and 18 is a max size, someone big like an artist like Twice, or someone big coming. So we have 2,700 park and ride users for our scenario A. This is our mid-size scenario. Notably, this is not going to be cars, but drivers. So we have peak 1,836 people arriving 60 minutes before the event, and then we have a small amount of people arriving at the extremes. And so for this, we had an 80% bus load across the whole time span. And so on our scenario A, we required 29 shuttles over that time span. So that's about 6 minutes per shuttle. And it's something that can definitely be, we believe, could be manageable under the municipal contracted fleet, and we might be able to add a few more buses. And at peak, we would only have 5 to 6 buses. For scenario B, we had 5,000 park and ride users, and under this scenario, we had approximately a bus every 3.5 minutes with a peak bus deployment of 9, which is still, we feel, to be potentially doable. And it obviously depends how many people carpool, but we anticipate most people coming into these type of venues are not buying a single ticket. Most are 2 to 4 tickets. So could it be around 1,350 cars saved in scenario A from entering the downtown core? And in scenario B, we had about 2,500 cars saved from entering the downtown core. Just, you guys obviously know what Hamilton looks like, but just to give you a brief overview, this is it, because I'm going to overlay this. So this is an isochrome, so these lines here are connecting different areas of time. So ideally, we want people in these blue areas here. So this is 5 to 15 minutes of bus ride time to the venue, and we want to avoid people coming in from the yellow, the orange, and the reds, because like I said earlier, they're just going to want to end up parking downtown if that's the case. So pre-event, we want to incentivize park and ride by charging people more money to park in the city. This is something that's been done in Calgary and in places where transit has been successful, like BART in Seattle, or in San Francisco, sorry. We want to give people who park free shuttle access. We don't want them to have a scan or do anything like that. We want them just to be able to get on the bus. We want them to have real-time parking availability to get into parking really quickly. During the event, we want to close off streets to have a little bit more of a nice atmosphere downtown and remove congestion. It also helps with emergency vehicle access, and floor attendees can be able to get to their stops faster. After the event, we want shuttle departures, just so people are not congesting the parking lot at the end. So we want them to be staggered every 5-10 minutes on the way out.
And these are just main points and benefits for the park and ride that we have. And I see your references.
And just if I have 10 more seconds, one thing that we did explore that we didn't end up getting to is agent-based modeling. So agent-based modeling takes particular agents from the that are leaving the venue, and they're modeled by density depending on the exit. And we kind of briefly did it. We didn't have too much processing power, so it's not something we were able to fully explore. But that could be something just to see a baseline scenario of people leaving without any without this park and ride, and then we can model it again after the park and ride just to see how the density is spreading out and what improvements this makes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to our presentation here, and these are just the references that we had.